Ease of doing business. President Buhari signs amended Companies and Allied Matters Bill, first time in 3 decades.
Anybody who thinks that he can influence the people's choice on election day through violence is wasting his time.
Independent National Electoral Commission threatens to withdraw from Edo election due to violence.
I want to assure the people of Southern Kaduna that the situation is under control.
Lingering crisis in Southern Kaduna, religious leaders seek lasting solution.
The money they have was from 20 billion. But they are running around, government has run around to make sure that we process the payment for June.
Plus, federal government to commence payment of June hazard allowance for frontline medical personnel. Hello and a warm welcome to the news at 9 on NTA. I am Jummai Yusuf. We trust you have been embracing proper hygiene practices. Do not get tired as we're gradually winning the war against COVID-19. Tonight, I'm reading with men of honor. Dotun Oguyemi will sail from Lagos, while Musa Abubakar will join the news train in Sokoto. Thanks so much for joining us. We begin with the presidency, as President Muhammadu Buhari has assented to the Companies and Allied Matters Bill 2020 recently passed by the National Assembly. The president's action on this important piece of legislation therefore repealed and replaced the extant Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990, introducing, after 30 years, several corporate legal innovations geared towards enhancing ease of doing business in the country. Elizabeth Onmoriwe has details of the innovations.
Are filing fee reductions and other reforms to make it easier and cheaper for small and medium-sized enterprises to register and reform their businesses in Nigeria, allowing corporate promoters of companies to establish private companies with a single member or shareholder, and creating limited liability partnerships and limited partnerships to give investors and business people alternative forms of carrying out their businesses in an efficient and flexible way. It also includes innovating processes and procedures to ease the operations of companies, such as introduction of statements of compliance, replacing authorized share capital with minimum share capital to reduce costs of incorporating companies, and providing for electronic filing, electronic share transfers, e-meetings, as well as remote general meetings for private companies in response to the disruptions of close contact physical meetings due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It also requires the disclosure of persons with significant control of companies in a register of beneficial owners to enhance corporate accountability and transparency. Similarly, enhancing the minority shareholder protection and engagement, introducing enhanced business rescue reforms for insolvent companies, and permitting the merger of incorporated trustees for associations that share similar aims and objectives are also part of it. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is urging the private sector to take the lead in charge for Nigeria's economic growth and development, and to unwrap the opportunities which abound across different sectors in the economic sustainability plan as designed by the federal government. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that this came to the fore at a virtual policy dialogue held with the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
The Economic Sustainability Plan already being implemented is designed to ward off imminent deep recession and effect significant changes in the economy. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, at this virtual edition of the Presidential Policy Dialogue of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, says the plan is driven by the desire to adapt to the challenges and to make required changes in order to come out stronger than before. The private sector is to be proactive in leading the charge against recession and poverty in the country, the Vice President says, stressing that the federal government is not under any illusion that it can do this on its own.
We can take advantage of these difficulties. Clearly, there are major opportunities in this very difficult period. And I urge you to join us in doing whatever is necessary to ensure that not only do we sustain growth, keep jobs, but also that we modernize our economy and make this country a place where everybody, local and international, would like to do business.
Now is the time to ensure strong and sustained post-COVID-19 recovery for all economies. This is a true test of our age, and I know that with leaders like you, we can meet the needs of people today and build back better tomorrow.
President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Toki Mabogunje, commended the federal government's spirited effort regarding its managing of the Nigerian economy, adding that private sector players are willing to collaborate with the administration. Jide Onifade, NTA News.
To other matters now, President Muhammadu Buhari has formally endorsed the candidacy of Pastor Osagie Ize-Iyamu of the APC for election as governor of Edo State. Receiving the candidate of the governing party, the president urged the people of the state to massively vote for him towards restoring the heartbeat of the nation on the path to a sustainable future. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The APC candidate for the forthcoming Edo State governorship election, Pastor Osagie Ize-Iyamu, was meeting President Muhammadu Buhari for the very first time. He was formally introduced to the Nigerian leader by, amongst others, the chairman, APC caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee, chairman, Progressives Governors Forum, and chairman, APC Governorship Campaign Council for Edo State. Discussions at the interactive engagement that followed behind closed doors centered on ways and means of ensuring that the APC candidate achieves triumphant victory at the polls. Most importantly, the APC leaders want the conduct of the election to be very peaceful and orderly towards achieving a credible outcome.
As we are all aware, Pastor Ize-Iyamu is not a greenhorn in Edo politics. He's a grassroots politician, loved by his people, and he went through the transparent process that produced him, and Mr. President has endorsed him, the party has endorsed him. So Mr. President is impressed with his performance so far.
For the Progressive Governors Forum, the defining thing is continuity of the All-Progressive Congress in governance at the federal and across Nigeria. And we will support our party any day. The president is very, very clear about his expectation of us to deliver our party in any election, and that is what we will do.
We are contesting against a serving governor in Edo State who failed woefully. It could have been a big problem if the governor performed well while governing his state. He could have been an asset to PDP, but I assure you that governor is a liability. So we are ready to fight somebody who has failed.
Let me also use this opportunity to debunk the story that has been going around in the past 1 week from the opposition that Mr. President did not want to see me. There's no truth in it. The reception I got very warm, very fatherly. The cooperation I've received is unprecedented. I'm happy to belong to the Progressive family. And I want to assure you that we'll win overwhelmingly. So please, help me thank the President for this love.
Edo State governorship election comes up on the 19th of September 2020. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has urged security services to stay vigilant and be guided by the law in its effort to prevent a breakdown of law and order in Edo State House of Assembly. Yusuf reports that the People's Democratic Party has also reacted to the development. His report.
The Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Yekini Nabena, in a statement on the Edo State House of Assembly crisis, wants all parties and their proxies to ensure peace and adherence to the rule of law in all their actions. The statement notes that it is illegal to deny duly elected legislators their constitutional rights to represent their constituencies in government, and that for the 24-member Edo State House of Assembly, 7 cannot be greater than 17. The APC says independence of the legislature as an important arm of government must be guaranteed and protected without interference from the government, that is the executive, and other non-state actors, describing the activities of the Edo State government on the State House of Assembly as a brazen assault on the constitution and the rule of law. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party says the purported cordon off of the assembly by the police without the invitation or request of the legitimate authorities of the state or the house is illegal, unconstitutional, and act of impunity. It adds that the swearing in of some former members-elect and purported election of new presiding officers in a private residence in Bini without the legitimate officials of the House of Assembly, as required by law, remains unlawful. In the meantime, the Edo State government says it will take necessary steps to defend the rule of law and ideals of democracy. Governor Godwin Obaseki states this in a broadcast Friday morning in Bini following recent developments in the state legislature. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will withdraw from the conduct of Edo governorship election if the threat of violence escalates and candidates unduly influence the electorate. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu stated this in an interview with newsmen in Nasarawa State.
Whatever we need to do to stem the ugly reports of violence so far, or threats of it, particularly in Edo State, we'll do so. We'll continue to speak to the actors. The assurance has been consistent with the assurance that we have always given. We are not a political party. We have no candidates in the election. We will jealously guard our processes. But as I said, and I keep repeating myself, anybody who thinks that he can influence the people's choice on election day through violence is wasting his time. If there is violence, we'll simply withdraw and we'll see who will declare winner in that manner.
Talking security now, the Northern Governors Forum has condemned the recent attack in southern Kaduna in which about 22 persons were reportedly killed on Wednesday night. As yet to be arrested, gunmen attacked 4 Atiab villages in Zango Kataf local government area of Kaduna State. In a statement by Director of Press Public Affairs to the Governor of Plateau State, Chairman Northern Governors Forum, Dr. Mahmoud Simon Macham, Governor Simon Bakola Long said the persistent attacks on villages in the area, despite all efforts by the Kaduna State government and security agencies to end the violence, raises serious concern and condemnation. Lalong said this recent attack where the Atiab villages were affected shows this desperate attempt by criminal elements to not only cause pain and sorrow among innocent citizens, but also frustrate the efforts of the Kaduna State government at fostering peace and harmony. Governor Lalong also said that the Northern Governors Forum maintains its position that any group or individual that is aggrieved for whatsoever reason should seek redress through official channels, the resort to self-help, which only excavates crisis and instability. The Northern Governors Forum commiserates with the victims of the crisis and the government of Kaduna State, pledging its support to Governor Nasir El-Rufai as he works with all stakeholders to bring the insistent crisis to an end. Still staying in Kaduna, a delegation of Christian leaders has visited Kaduna for dialogue with Governor Nasiru Ahmed El-Rufai over the lingering crisis in southern Kaduna, led by the former chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Northern Region, Reverend Yakubu Pam. The delegation says the sanctity of human life is the watchword of all religions. Mohammed Umar Anjiki reports.
The religious leaders are in Kaduna for dialogue with Governor Nasiru Ahmed El-Rufai and other critical stakeholders in peace building, such as the state chapters of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Jamaatul Nasr al-Islam, DNI, and Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, among others. and this is with a view to identifying the missing link for sustainable peace among the diverse communities in the heterogeneous state. Reverend Yakubu Pam says they are closely monitoring the worrisome situation and admonishes the people to be steadfast in prayers and support of the state government in its commitment to restore lasting peace in the crisis-ridden areas.
The words of His Excellency by saying, whatever we agreed at the grassroots with the people, he is ready to implement. For me, that gives me a good sleep. And I want to assure the people of Southern Kaduna that the situation is under control. We will get back to them, we will discuss with them, and then we get back to His Excellency.
As the meeting towards ushering lasting peace continues, the delegation appeals for calm and respect for human dignity to break the cycle of attacks and reprisals. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umarajingi, NTA News.
Amid rising concerns about the reintegration of ex-Boko Haram members into the society and the presence of Al-Qaeda in Nigeria, among other security challenges, the federal government is reassuring Nigerians on actions being taken to secure their citizenry. Defense correspondent Nadia Atutijani has details of these and other military operations by the armed forces of Nigeria.
Peaceful negotiation is an aspect of warfare which is in line with global best practices. While this is good news for these repentant ex-Boko Haram members, this act of amnesty is generating controversy. Yet, the Nigerian military says Nigeria's complex security challenges require a multifaceted approach.
The Defense Headquarters led non-kinetic, multi-agency humanitarian operation established by the Presidency, which was designed to de-radicalize, rehabilitate, and reintegrate willingly surrendered and repentant Boko Haram members. 12 other federal government ministries, departments, and agencies, including Northeast Development Commission, as well as local and international non-governmental organizations, collaborate and support the operation.
Similarly, the Directorate of Defense Media Operations says it is aware of the threat Al-Qaeda poses, but assures Nigerians there is no cause for alarm. These actions and other classified ones are in line with President Buhari's demand of an overhaul of the security apparatus.
We are likely to allow people to see the actual development at the time Abuja itself.
Meanwhile, it continues to record progress in all zones of the country, including the deactivation of more than 25 illegal mining sites in the South-South zone under Operation Delta Safe. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Time to take a breather. More to come when we return. Stay with the NTA. Thanks for rejoining us. This is NTA Network News. The federal government has assured the commencement of the payment of June hazard allowance for medical personnel handling the COVID-19 pandemic from next week. The Minister for Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, disclosed this after a meeting between the federal government and the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors in Abuja. Justin Bem-Onye reports.
This was a continuation of the meeting earlier adjourned last week, where the National Association of Resident Doctors had issued an ultimatum citing some issues of dispute. Among these issues was the yet-to-be-paid June hazard allowance to medical workers handling the COVID-19 pandemic. This meeting brought to an end that dispute as the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, affirmed all necessary arrangements to commence payment have been done.
IP's Accountant General Office, the money they have was from 20 billion. But they're running around, government has run around to make sure that we process the payment for June.
The minister also met with the Nigerian Medical Association on similar issues and re-echoed the federal government's priority towards the health sector in terms of funding, but decried the lack of will by state governments to replicate such implementations. He, however, disclosed that the federal government will be renegotiating with the associations to renew and overhaul their agreements.
So I intend to bring everybody back to the table next week. All health workers, including NMA. We will have our meeting again with open transparency. I'll ask finance to come. They'll put on the table the budget, the COVID budget, and then agree on a new percentage that will be for the COVID workers.
The medical bodies appreciated the federal government's interventions to motivate them in carrying out their life-saving duty and requested stronger implementation of some other unresolved agreements on ground. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
The World Health Organization warns of dangers of COVID-19 vaccine as coronavirus cases in Africa exceed 1 million. Let's join Joyce Ometu for an update on the health crisis.
The World Health Organization has warned against vaccine nationalism, cautioning richer countries that if they keep treatments to themselves, they cannot expect to remain safe if poor nations are exposed. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom said it would be in the interest of wealthier nations to help every country protect itself against the disease. Statistics by the Coronavirus Resource Center in Johns Hopkins University published at 6 p.m. show that cases had reached 19,374,783, out of which 12,440,883 people have recovered. Africa now has more than 1 million cases of coronavirus, although experts say lack of comprehensive testing across the continent means the true extent of the pandemic is not known. So far, 22,143 fatalities have been registered, while 694,859 patients have recovered. Nigeria now has 45,244 cases, out of which 32,430 people have been treated and discharged, while 930 fatalities are recorded. Turning attention to India, more than 2 million people have now been infected with coronavirus, accounting for the world's third highest caseload. The Health Ministry said 62,538 cases were reported in 24 hours. Meanwhile, Mexico's coronavirus deaths have passed 50,000 as the government faces criticism on how it's handling the health crisis. Elsewhere, Syria's capital is facing a spike in COVID-19 cases. Hospitals are overwhelmed with medics expressing fears that the virus is spreading faster than clinics can test. The Health Ministry had admitted that this week it lacks the capacity to carry out widespread testing. And that's it from here. I am Joyce Ometu.
And as part of its responsibility to develop goals and government's efforts in ensuring healthy community, the Global Timeline Initiative has taken sensitization awareness campaign against COVID-19 to the grassroots. Serafina Okonweke reports that women were shared into groups and trained in areas of soap making and hand sanitizer, including face masks, with the aim of creating revenue generation for them.
As the coronavirus pandemic is currently ravaging the world, the Global Timeline Initiative, a non-governmental organization saddled with the responsibility of empowering widows, women and the girl child, deemed it urgent to reach out to the people of Garokitu in the nation's capital. The representative of the SAPE of Garokitu, Jacob Pada, and the guest speaker, Isham Mohammed, advised the women to maintain proper hygienic lifestyle and play by the safety rules.
The first day we paid a visit to the palace, we were surprised to hear someone tell us that there is no COVID-19, that it's all scam. And that was why we said, okay, fine. Since government says people should try and join the effort to make awareness, and we didn't see anybody coming up. Everybody is relaxing. Everybody wanted the palliative and all that. So we thought, okay, fine, let's just do. There is no time too late.
This event is very important so that you can reach out to the people that are in certain areas that are not really aware of what COVID-19 is.
I am very, very overwhelmed because he who brings health brings life.
Apart from the sensitization of COVID-19, the women were empowered in the community.
I learned how to make hand sanitizer with the use of Moko spirits that we use for the children cut clamps. So with glycerin and many other things and aloe vera making.
I'm grateful for these people for coming here today to show me how to make liquid soap. Now I can be able to make it and market it.
The women and the traditional rulers were thankful to the NGO for the gesture. Serafina Okonumekwe, NTA News.
Medical and health workers who have been in the forefront of fighting coronavirus in Nigeria have been assured of their well-being and allowances as they work to restore health to COVID-19 patients. National President of the Medical and Health Union Workers of Nigeria gave the assurance during a visit to the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital Isolation Center, Gwagwalada. Elizabeth Omori reports.
Since the outbreak of coronavirus, medical personnel across the globe have become frontline workers battling to overcome the deadly disease that has so far killed thousands around the world and wrecked economies. The welfare of these health workers has continued to lead debates as their contributions to saving lives from the ravaging viral disease cannot be ignored. Dr. Vivian Kwage, a consultant physician, has been providing care for COVID-19 patients, and she believes investment in primary health care is key to preventing infectious diseases.
We are where we are today because of the support we are getting. We continue to do what we are doing because of the encouragement that we are getting from.
Her role and that of other workers in the containment of COVID-19 necessitated this visit by the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria to the isolation center.
Once there is peace and harmony within the system, the output will be greater. The Federal Ministry of Health, using the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, have provided almost all the equipment that we need to make the center function.
They advocate proper hygiene practice amongst Nigerians and prompt response on the payment of the late salaries and allowances formed part of their discourse. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
A special offences mobile court sitting in Abuja has fined music star Aziz Fashola, popularly known as Naira Marley, 200,000 after he pleaded guilty in a 4-count charge bordering on flouting the restriction order on movement during the coronavirus pandemic. Olabode Arewa has more.
Aziz Fashola was arraigned before Magistrate Idayat Akoni for flying into Abuja on June 30, 2020, and holding a musical concert in violation of COVID-19 restrictions. The defendant pleaded guilty to the charges filed against him by the Abuja Environmental Protection Board. His counsel, Mohammed Yunusa, prayed the court to temper justice with mercy, as his client is a first offender. The court imposed a fine of 50,000 naira on each of the 4 counts, which means he will pay 200,000 naira.
The court also ordered him to publish a public apology to the federal government of Nigeria in a national daily.
What it means is that moving forward, we will be very detailed, and confirm informations given to us or to our client, by people who book him. Like this particular instance, they gave us all the assurances that my client they have procured all the approvals from the federal government for him to be in Abuja.
He had earlier been found guilty by Lagos State Special Offences Mobile Court for embarking on the non-essential travel. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
For more reports from our Lagos axis, Dotun Oguyemi is our guide. Hello, Dotun. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Jummai. The Coalition Against COVID-19, CAR-COVID, has commenced the distribution of items to 1.7 million households and 774 local government areas in Nigeria. CAR-COVID Administrator and CEO Aliko Dangote Foundation, Zuera Yusuf, stated this in Lagos when she announced the flag-off of a nationwide distribution of multi-billion naira food palliative to Nigerians.
They are Nigerians from the private sector. They are driven by a common goal to bring succor to more than 10 million Nigerians, especially the vulnerable. The food relief materials for which the private sector operators are spending close to 23 billion naira to procure is to help cushion the hardship caused by the COVID-19 pandemic on some Nigerians. It is also to assist government's humanitarian initiative of giving citizens a soft landing.
Each basket that the families will get include what you see in front of us here, which is a 10-kilo bag of rice, a 5-kilo bag of gari or maize flour or semolina, depending on where in the country the state is located, a carton of pasta with 20 pieces, two cartons of noodles, a 5-kilo bag of sugar, and a 1-kilo bag of salt.
The 1.7 million families will definitely get every single bag that we're talking about. We are a private sector, and as I said from the beginning, we are not partisan in any way or form. We are just concerned about the communities we're working in Nigeria. We know the issues that they're dealing with. We know that these 5% need everything, and we are going to make sure that it's done in that way.
Towards reinforcing the testing capacity of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, Coalition Against COVID-19 so far has donated more than 300,000 test kits and PPEs to the center.
There are 200 plus million families in Nigeria, so we need help. But much more importantly, and while you guys are here, we need Nigeria to know, even in this room, we're all wearing masks. But what's happening in the states around Lagos?
CAR-COVID says it is determined to deepen its grassroots awareness campaign against the virus in order to ensure safety of Nigerians. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
Emergency responders in Lagos have averted what could have been a major calamity by successfully evacuating a tanker fully loaded with 55,000 litres of petrol after it was involved in an accident on Mile 2 Road. Becky Madujemu reports that one life was lost in the mishap.
The accident occurred in the early moments of Friday on the bustling Mile 2 stretch. Emergency workers had to be on top of their game to prevent a combustion. In their explanation, the tanker conveying the highly inflammable liquid bumped into a gaping pothole. The impact rocked the truck, which fell sideways, flooding the road with its content.
The road is bad, so tanker to fall down. So you can see the last mile, every other teams are there working to ensure that they pick the truck safe. So I think they are doing a great job.
The road up this morning, cannot do any work. So now serious road up.
The driver and his assistant reportedly took to their heels, leaving behind a yet-to-be-identified female passenger whose lifeless body was found pinned to the dashboard. Rescue agents say her remains have been deposited at the morgue.
Because of the rainfall period now, most of the flooding, the rainwater are causing unnecessary weather-related destruction of infrastructures. So the potholes will come in. So many of the dry fires may not know where there are new potholes.
Rescue agents say her remains have been deposited at the morgue.
We are appealing to the drivers that they should not be reckless in the way they are driving the articulated route.
Affected road users bemoan the state of the Mile 2 route, which is dotted with potholes. causing frequent mishaps on this crucial route that serves as pathway to several highways and even exit points of the city. In Lagos, Becky Madujemu, NTA News.
Let's now take another break. More reports still to come on Network News. Stay with us.
Thanks for staying with the NTA. President Muhammadu Buhari warmly rejoices with Labour and Employment Minister Dr. Chris Nwabueze Ngige as he turns 68. The President joins the medical community, Labour fraternity, the legislature and people of Anambra State to salute Dr. Ngige for his meritorious service to the nation and humanity, wishing him greater health, strength and sound mind as he serves as a conciliator general between government and organised labour. President Buhari wishes the minister well in all his endeavours. Now, it is expected that all civil servants to be innovative in rendering service to the nation. This became a policy following the completion of the 2020 maiden edition of the Federal Civil Service Innovation Competition. Ike Chukunduke reports.
Oyidamola Shogunro, whose team emerged overall winner of this year's Federal Civil Service Innovation Competition, is particularly not happy that at this age of globalization, the use of computer in providing service is not maximally utilized in civil service, a burden the team finally provided solutions.
The aim of that tool is to help us have a cloud-based system dedicated for Nigerian government civil service, so that we will not have information loss, information leaks. Civil servants will be able to sign in with their email credentials onto the Engov City platform, and they'll be able to work from any location.
Marveled at the talent showcased by these talented civil servants, the head of service, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, has secured approval to institutionalize innovation in service to ensure effective service delivery while cutting costs.
We have concluded arrangements on the establishment of a service innovation department.
Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola says the whole gamut of the idea is about improving services through creativity.
Directors, assistant director, deputy director, all of us must be concerned about those things that concern the public.
The competition were rewarded financially. In Abuja, Ike Chukundukwe, NTA News.
A 9-member steering committee has been inaugurated to implement the 6 billion naira endowment fund under the Northeast Development Commission to address gross deficit in the sector within the region. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that this is coming after 10 years of setback caused by violent attacks perpetrated by Boko Haram insurgents.
Northeast Development Commission is rebuilding hope in the region through the provision of education training opportunities to thousands of disadvantaged children of school age. Concerned over the 2.5 index average of enrollment in different stages of learning, the Commission is commencing implementation of Education Endowment Fund with an initial budget of 6 billion naira to bridge the gap.
The board is here to oversee whatever is going to be done. So there's no question of going to say, okay, it's just one of those things. This is what is going to succeed.
A lot is expected from us, and of course, a lot will be done too.
The execution process will be guided by comprehensive data for addressing professional and structural decay in education, health, and other areas affected in the Northeast to ensure regional coverage of the exercise.
With this endowment fund, all the sub-issues of scholarship, training, all things should be handled, while also be doing the hard issues of building the infrastructure, so the two should go simultaneously.
The Board of Trustees will be leveraging on the support of stakeholders in the region to fully realize the benefits of the approved fund. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has pledged to continue to carry the Nigerian Union of Journalists along in achieving its mandate of reaching out to the poor and vulnerable in the society. This was when officials of the union paid a visit to the ministry towards ensuring accountability and transparency in the distribution of palliatives across the country. Ruth Agwele reports.
They are the bridge between the government and the governed. Therefore, to alleviate worries of people over non-inclusion, the Nigerian Union of Journalists has led a delegation to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to beam its searchlight to ensure government's interventions in the wake of COVID-19 reaches the desired groups.
Sometimes some of the things that fly left, right and center could be as a result of communication gap. And that's why it is highly imperative that the media must be given unfettered access to information that trickles around this ministry.
And the ministry has done its best by reaching out to the poor and vulnerable in the society, sometimes using the state structures and sometimes directly from the ministry to these beneficiaries.
Beyond the visit, the dialogue continues as the ministry pledges continuous engagement with the NUJ in fulfillment of its mandate. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
The acting managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Professor Ponde, has inaugurated a 17-member NDDC headquarters project completion and inauguration committee. Professor Ponde charged members of the committee to ensure that the envisaged date of completion is achieved to save the commission the huge sum channel to rent and tenancy. Joy Uzo reports.
The NDDC permanent headquarters building was initiated over 20 years ago during the Umpadek era. The building had suffered several funding challenges and neglect by previous administrations until the recent Interim Management Committee, headed by Professor Keme Brady Kumopondi, took the board initiative to painstakingly ensure it's completed and handed over to the President for inauguration. To fast-track this mission, Professor Ponde inaugurated a 17-member committee to kickstart the beginning of the end of one of the landmark projects of the NDDC, the headquarters project.
Today we are happy that it has reached a final completion phase, and you have been selected to see to the end of this process and plan for a befitting commissioning of this great edifice. That we are performing this inauguration from within the structure itself is a testimony to the resilience of the Commission under the IMC to bring this project to an end.
Executive Director of Projects, Dr. Cairo Ojugbo, who doubles as the chairman of the newly inaugurated committee, appreciated the acting MD for finding them worthy to serve and assured that they will bring their wealth of experience to bear in carrying out their assignments.
We are ever determined to serve, no matter all the attempts to distract us. We have returned to work, and our first mandate is to complete and commission this edifice.
Dr. Jubu says that most of the floors have been completed and ready for use, while work on the ancillary building of the 12-floor complex is at 90% completion. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
The Nigerian Television Authority NTA Channel 12 Abeokuta has taken delivery of a 12-panel solar-powered borehole constructed for the station and host community by the Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority. The project, which is part of federal government's effort towards providing access to clean water by 2030 through the water hygiene and sanitation wash programs and open defecation eradication by 2025, will also support existing measures to curb spread of COVID-19 in Ogun State. Mohammed Adebowale covered the inauguration ceremony, and his report is presented in this package.
For more blessings, for more projects to come the way of NTA.
That was the inauguration ceremony of a 12-panel solar-powered borehole water system at the upper premises of the Nigerian Television Authority NTA Channel 12 Abeokuta. The 120-meter depth borehole with 5,000 gallon storage capacity plastic tanks mounted on a 6-meter high sanction provided alongside 5 water drawing points to provide potable water to staff and host community, will also enhance hand washing practices for healthy living as well as eradicate vulnerability to COVID-19 scourge.
The commissioning is no doubt expedient at this time, considering the numerous needs of the Ogbe community in Abeokuta South local government, especially our colleagues, staff of the television station, who are putting up so much frontline efforts in enlightenment and entertainment of the citizens to have access to adequate provision of water supply in order to ensure sanitary exigencies and proper hygiene practices.
With this development, the Ogbe community now have clean and sustainable water solution. This is the first time NTA Channel 12 Abeokuta will be having running water on its premises 40 years after it was established.
This is NTA Network News. Sokoto is our next port of call, and Musa is our guide. Hello, Musa.
The federal government's extended special public works program is aimed at creating opportunities for the teeming unemployed productive citizens to enhance economic and social well-being of the people. This came to the fore when the Sokoto State Selection Committee of the program paid courtesy visit on Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. Talhat Abdullahi has the report.
The program was introduced by the federal government. 1,000 beneficiaries are expected to be selected in each local government to pilot the program. Each beneficiary will be paid 20,000 naira monthly for the period of 3 months, and they will be engaged in social works within their immediate communities. The selection committee, comprising 20 members, is expected to commence the selection of 23,000 beneficiaries of the program, 1,000 from each of the 23 local government areas.
The federal government is charged with the responsibility of the welfare of the citizens generally. And because of that, they observe that generally there is poverty, especially with this lockdown and other things. So because of that, they come up with this program so that to reduce the intensity of this poverty.
Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal advised the members to take advantage of the data bank available at the State Zakat and Endowment Commission to ease the exercise.
Poverty doesn't belong to a political party. Once you are elected as a leader, certain programs you must ensure that are very, very devoid of political inclination, and make sure that the people are the focus and focal of your administration.
He described the federal government program as a welcome development, saying it will complement various state governments' programs aimed at improving the socio-economic well-being of the people. In Sokoto, Talhat Abdullahi, NTA News.
Now, leadership has been described as a heavy task that requires justice, equity, and patience. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar stated this when he received Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, and his brother, Emir of Bichi, Nasuru Ado Bayero. Talhat Abdullahi again tells us more on the activities of the monarchs in Sokoto.
The relationship between the Sultanate Council of Sokoto and the Kano Emirate dates back to the period of Sheikh Usman bin Fodio. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar described the visit of the two brothers as historic. The monarch said history can never be forgotten, admonishing the Emir and his brother to lead by example. Sultan Muhammad Saad called on leaders to close the ranks and work for the interest of masses. Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, while thanking the Sultan for the warm reception, said their visit is to affirm their loyalty to the Sultan and the Sultanate. He pledged to uphold the long-existing tradition of the Emirate and the Sultanate for the good of masses. Dr. Aminu Ado Bayero condoled with the Sultan over the deaths of some prominent personalities in the state. Receiving the monarchs, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal said the Kano Emirate had for decades remained a thing of pride to successive governments, particularly their firm association with Sokoto Caliphate. For the two visiting emirs, the popular hope is that they will continue to offer good leadership to the people of Kano and the Nigerians, considering the pedigree of leadership qualities of their late father, Dr. Ado Bayero. The two emirs were in company of some traditional title holders from Kano State. In Sokoto, Talhat Abdullahi, NTA News.
Well, that's it from here. It's back to you, Jummai.
Thank you so much, Musa. La Liga side Sevilla in top contention for a 6th Europa League title. Ayodeji Makinde tells us more on Sports Update.